Okay, what if one of the most fundamental ideas in our entire world, economic value, was just an illusion? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty radical theory that challenges everything we think we know about economics. But it doesn't do it with philosophy, it does it with physics. The argument, all economic activity is just energy reconfiguring matter. It's a wild thought, right? The concept of value is so baked into our language. We talk about creating it, adding it, trading it. Questioning its existence feels almost like questioning gravity itself. But the theory we're breaking down today says this whole concept is a phantom, kind of like a ghost in our economic machine.
I mean, think about it. We treat value as the bedrock of our economy. It's treated as this real, measurable thing. It's the foundation for everything, from your paycheck to the stock market. But what if that bedrock is actually just sand? What if this entire massive system is built on an idea that doesn't physically exist at all?
So, traditionally, economists have tried to nail down value in two main ways. On one side, you have the labor theory, which says value comes from the work put in, the sweat and effort. On the other side is the subjective theory, which says it's all in our heads. Something is valuable simply because someone wants it and is willing to pay for it. But from a physicalist point of view, both of these theories completely miss the point.
And this brings us right to the core of the challenge. A physicalist view strips away all the abstract ideas and just looks at what's actually there. And what's there? Matter and energy, all governed by the laws of physics. So from this very real, very stark perspective, where does an abstract concept like value even fit in? As we're about to see, it doesn't.
This quote just nails the critique against the labor theory. Think about a carpenter building a chair. At what point does their work magically transfer some kind of value phantom into the wood? The physicalist answer is, it doesn't. They simply apply energy to reconfigure the matter. The wood goes from being a pile of wood to a chair. Nothing metaphysical was added. It's just a physical transformation.
Okay, so what about the subjective theory then? I mean, it's true, your desire for something is a real physical process happening inside your brain. But the economic theory based on that makes a huge mistake. It takes that desire and treats it like some infinite, abstract force, completely disconnected from the physical world. It ignores the simple fact that your brain is a finite object and it's desiring other finite objects. There are physical limits, but the theory just pretends they aren't there. All right, so if the old theories have some major holes, what do we replace them with? This is where we shift gears from tearing things down to actually building a new framework, one that's based on a single, unified physical reality.
So the central idea here, the one we really need to get our heads around, is configuration. We tend to think of an object, like a cup, and the material it's made of as two separate things. But they're not. There's no abstract cupness floating around in the universe. There is only a specific physical arrangement, a configuration of ceramic atoms. The shape isn't separate from the matter. It is a property of the matter.
And the Lego analogy makes this crystal clear. You start with matter, a pile of plastic blocks. Then you apply energy with your hands, and you end up with a new configuration, a Lego car. Now here's the question. Where in that process did you add value? You didn't. You just reconfigured the matter. The only thing that's different between the pile of bricks and the car is the physical arrangement of the plastic. Now, this physicalist worldview goes even deeper. It argues that it's not just the concept of value that's an illusion. A lot of the fundamental distinctions we make every day, like separating an object from its own motion, are also just artificial ideas that don't really reflect physical reality. We've already seen how the line between matter and its configuration just kind of dissolves. Well, this same logic keeps going. The source argues you can't really separate matter from its motion, or from the space-time it exists in, or even from the patterns it makes. These aren't all separate things that bump into each other. They're all just built-in, inseparable properties of matter itself. Take a phrase we use all the time, matter in motion. That little phrase implies that matter and motion are two separate things. But the argument here is much more radical. Matter is motion. At the most fundamental level, a particle isn't some tiny little ball that has motion. Its very existence is a state of constant vibration and movement. You can't have one without the other. So let's bring this all back home. If we accept this unified, purely physical view of the universe, what does that actually mean for economics? What are we doing when we're engaging in what we call economic activity? And here it is, the big conclusion.
All economic activity, from mining iron ore to building a skyscraper to making a sandwich, is simply the process of reconfiguring matter by applying energy. We're not creating some magical property called value. We are just physically transforming things. The entire global economy is just one giant physics experiment.
I mean, just think about the device you might be watching this on right now. A while ago, its components were just sand and rock and oil in the ground. A huge, incredibly complex chain of energy application reconfigured that raw matter into the device you're holding. No value was magically injected into it. We just rearranged atoms into a configuration that happens to be incredibly useful for us. And this leaves us with a really challenging final thought. Our entire global system is built on this idea of growth. We have to keep growing. But if all we're doing is rearranging a finite amount of matter on a finite planet, what are we truly growing? Are we actually creating lasting wealth, or are we just getting faster and faster at turning useful, ordered stuff into disordered waste? This physicalist perspective really forces us to stop and think about what progress even means.